Let's, whenever you're ready. Okay. Welcome all to the June 14th meeting of the Dudley Water and Sewer Commission, Flag Day. So let's start with pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. We have minutes to approve. Minutes from last Wednesday, the 7th.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes on June 7th, 2023 is ready.
I'll second him, Mr. Chairman.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? 3-0. Okay. Executive session minutes from the same day, 7th, and we can release those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those minutes are short. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes on June 7th. Thank you.
I'll second it, Mr. Chairman.
Before, there was something that I noticed.
I corrected it before I,
There was one line that was, this one sentence like down near the end that just didn't end. It just, it ended, it didn't complete. It wasn't a complete line. Let's see. Pretty sure it was in those minutes. Nope, it isn't in that. Never mind. It was in something else. Nope. Okay, so motion's been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Unanimous. Okay, the road opening permit situation. Evidently, back in August, the Board of Selectmen voted to uphold the need for road opening permits for any and all road openings. That came to us shortly after, last week. And after a meeting with the town administrator on Friday morning, the Board of Selectmen have voted to honor the contract as it was signed a year ago and waive the fees, but the permit still needs to be filed. So that's where that's at. And just so we're aware, we will be required to get a road opening permit, either pay fees or ask for them to be abated each and every time. I did pose the question, I don't know if you heard anything, I did pose the question, what about a break?
That's emergencies.
But
If you read the policy.
if you read the policy, it says
Stated even emergency.
you will not open the road without a permit. So I don't know.
And people are gonna be without water for a
Yeah,
while.
let the town go without water.
Yeah, I mean, I won't do anything till the next morning.
Yeah, you got all off hour.
All you can do is shut it off and be,
Yep.
or be in violation. But I did pose the question, because I sent an email, or I left a voicemail this morning, and I got a reply with those letters just before Jen sent them to us. And then I replied to that with the question. I said, I know the question is going to come up. What happens when we have a
It's always nights and weekends, you know?
Yeah, it's gonna be at night, it's gonna be in the weekend.
It's always off
It's gonna be
hours.
an inconvenient time.
And we have to
What
get it on.
happens? Do we have to wait until a permit is,
So it just says you have to file a permit, correct?
well, file and pay for?
You file online, so
Okay,
it can be done automatically.
so you have to,
Wasn't the highway superintendent's statement that he was not gonna issue the permit until he was paid on this project?
Basically.
so,
So.
The fee was not
is
waived.
Filing a permit acceptable to.
In an emergency
assuming it's an
situation,
approved permit?
I believe so, because all others, like if you have an emergency roof situation, you can just file it and begin work. They're not going to, same thing
I
with
was
the
just gonna
plumbing.
say, Mr. Chairman, on plumbing, or especially gas, with gas heat in the wintertime, on a night or weekend, you can go ahead with the job,
Yep.
off hours, to restore anything, providing normal business hours, you pull your permit.
Well, let me
And
ask,
I'm saying, we pull the permit, who's at the town hall to approve the permit? Who approves the permit? So Jen's at home taking a permit out online, 8 o'clock Saturday night, while George is down on Court Ave.
Yep.
Who's gonna approve the permit at 9 o'clock on a Saturday night?
they'd have to alert the,
It would,
Yeah, when you think of it in that respect, I think you stick your nose out and do your job and worry about the permit once.
well, let me ask this question. We
Working
know,
hours.
we know that the National Grid has not paid any permits on Nuco for all their work. This is after the permits, the procedures have been implemented. So how does that go now? I mean, that's not,
that's something to be, I guess it's a question to be asked. And then the other thing that I saw was that, I guess the highway superintendent needs to sign off on the repairs, road repair afterwards. By what standard? I mean, is a trench patch good enough, or are they gonna require full mill and overlay, or what is an acceptable repair of the road? Because it says to, or better. I know it says or better in there. I did read it all, but I don't have a copy of it open up to me right now. But yeah, so I have a lot of questions there, but in any case, the fees for that, we did get a letter today saying that the fees for, I think they were gonna charge us 24,000,
26,
26
yep.
for opening to do the water main project that has been contracted out for over a year already. So they're, that's where it's at, so we'll have to take it as it goes, I guess. I suppose we could show up at a selectmen's meeting every time we have a project to ask them to waive the fee.
I think ratepayers should show up at the selectmen's meeting and tell them that they're a ratepayer and a taxpayer, and that the ratepayers are paying additional unjustified taxes, so to say. Just as a way it's a way for the select board and other departments to tax the water sewer department because they don't have control over that department.
Okay, so, any further discussion on that? That's more, we don't have to, that was on the agenda for tonight, simply because if they were gonna enforce it, then we were gonna have to do something to pay for it. Because
Yeah.
it wouldn't have been, actually, I heard during the meeting today with the monthly status meeting for the two projects, the question was asked to the representatives from the SRF board, and they said, yeah, no, that wouldn't be reimbursable or payable through the SRF process.
who pays the First Ave project? That's a CMRPC, that's not even a water department project, we're just overseeing it. Who pays that fee for road opening?
I guess
That goes back to the
That's
town.
not our project, is it?
No.
No, that's CMRPC?
That's the grant that we got for that. for the-
Yeah. Suppose, I
This
mean,
opens
that's,
up a lot of can of worms.
that's a good question. That project is up.
Taxing taxpayers additional.
It is. It's just, I don't know.
Maybe they'll waive them from now on then for us. Think about
Maybe
it.
they will, maybe they won't, but I guess we have to go and ask every time, so. Not that we do any we don't do big projects all the time, but the questions about emergencies and that sort of thing, or repairs, I mean, you have to repair a gate box, do we need to,
Do we have an answer on
you
that?
know, go through all the permitting before we can do it, or?
Well, it depends how extensive it is to repair it. It has to be completely dug out, that's one thing.
But anytime you have to dig the road, you're gonna have to,
Just preparing a little gate box top or something is not a big deal, but you have to dig the whole thing side.
well, just look up by Cumberland Farms. You ended up with a, 6x6 asphalt patch just for that gate.
Yep.
And that's a state highway too.
We had to dig right down to the bottom,
Yeah,
right
but
down to the
just-
gate. 'cause
Well, on the
gate was
state
full.
highway, is not,
It's not small.
does the state highway wouldn't fall into that, so West
Yeah,
Main
I
Street.
was just gonna say, state highway.
No, we don't pay anything
Yeah,
for
yeah.
anything.
Well, what would happen when you had, like, across the street, the emergencies?
We were just talking about that. We can do one of two things. We can either try to get some kind of permit on, or just leave it till the next morning till we do get a permit. And let the people know exactly why we couldn't get to it. They want to play this game.
Look, there's people have mistakes, we have to report the mistakes.
You know, I don't get a red light from the one individual or whatever, then it stays broken. And opens up other avenues of problems too.
Yeah, but
Just shows you the root of the problem goes far deeper than.
we have to explain, you get a high-pressure water main leak, you can siphon your tanks, the damage that it can be created, your pump's running, your tank emptying out, it's gotta be addressed. You know that as well, we all know that, you know?
Yep.
Let the leak open the road.
I'm sorry?
Let the leak open
Yeah.
the road. Keep the valves open, let the water go open.
Well, we can close valves. We just close valves and,
No, we're not doing the trench, let the water do
yeah.
it. It's a bigger mess. We have a permit, we wouldn't be responsible for the repair.
Are we asking these questions of the selectmen?
Yes, I did send an email with some of the questions. I mean, they'll be posed. And I'm sure some of them will watch this tomorrow. But, okay. Any further discussion on this? All right, we got a proposal from Ty and Bond. We asked for it last week and they got it to us this week. They accelerated the siphon. It's a proposal to take care of the siphon at, in front of, or the invert, in front of the post office, Marty's. So that proposal came through today. It's a total of 40,000.
For the record,
Of that,
wasn't,
of that 40,000, 4,000 of it is to do a quick review of Jesse Road as well. Remember, we had asked about that last,
Mr. Chairman,
last
I
week.
thought we worked on that siphon a few years ago.
It's not the siphon itself, they're gonna have to end up cameraing the line all the way to Progress.
They're gonna-
Okay, but didn't somebody in front of
They
the fire station?
straightened it right out, and
Right,
it
it did
helped.
some work there a few years ago.
Yes.
But everything has helped so far, but the final problem is down here.
Oh, I know, down the line.
it's to look, it's to survey the line
Oh, so, okay.
all the way down to the Chase Ave invert.
Yeah, okay.
They said it doesn't include the Chase Ave invert, so it's going down Progress through the easement
Yeah.
onto Fairview,
Fairview and turning left, going down.
down through the woods again,
Yeah.
and out onto George Street.
That's actually in the backyard. As you go down Schofield Ave, the last house on the right, there's a manhole in that house, is in the backyard of that house where it cuts through yards.
Yep.
It comes back out onto Schofield Ave again. So it goes through private property.
Right, so they're gonna camera some of it, wherever they think is appropriate, assess everything and give us a report. Total's 40,000. So
15 of those cameras.
15 of it's for camera work and 4 is for a review of the Alton Drive project. So that's there. The sooner we,
Are we planning
make
for
a decision on it,
How would we pay for it, Mr. Chairman?
What do we have for
Engineering.
Engineering.
engineering? We have enough in,
Yep.
and that is engineering, so we can pay for it through the engineering line item.
If there's 4 for Jesse Road, who's paying for that?
We are. If we vote to do it. I don't know what others' opinions are of that, but,
I would ask the applicant if he would make a $4,000 donation to the department to cover that cost.
Because we could spend the 4,000 and then his project doesn't go through.
Right.
right.
It's one of the reasons I said we need a method in place to have an applicant pay funds to cover projects.
Yeah, we're,
Because otherwise, our ratepayers, we would be no better than the selectmen,
Yeah.
charging our ratepayers to do work for other people.
For someone else for
private
profit.
the,
looking for
yeah,
profit.
the issue there is the fact that we didn't have that set up. Now we do, but this originally was,
We did have that set up, but the planning board didn't look at it close enough to understand that they needed to read.
yes, I get it, but we can go back and forth and back and forth, and we've still got this property owner hanging out there.
And how long does it take from start to finish, because I didn't read.
He said that the Jesse Road part of it, they can have a preliminary report done in 3 weeks. The other thing, I believe it was 2 months from the time that they get the go-ahead. I believe it was 2 months. It's right at the end of the,
Well, that's what you said, but it's, the review is subject to the completion of Potash Brook intercept.
Right.
Hydraulic
the
evaluation.
final review, yes.
So,
But he
you
can-
won't really have,
They can have a preliminary report in 3 weeks.
Excuse me if I'm wrong, Mr. Chairman, but the problem with Jesse Road right now is not just Jesse Road,
everything down.
it's everything downstream, so this all has to get done before we okay that. Am I missing it?
that's why I asked.
Okay. An initial review will be prepared within 3 weeks of the authorization to proceed. However, the final review may be subject to the completion of the Potash Brook Interceptor hydraulic. Because if they find something downstream, it'll
Right.
affect that. It'll affect everything, it'll affect the whole system.
Right, but they pointed out that there was 4 incidents since 2010 at the 119 West Main Street.
Right.
So they know there's been instances, and there's obviously a problem downstream.
Okay. So I would guess we're no, if that is the case, if that's the tack we're gonna take, we're not gonna allow any more connections anywhere from the fire station up on the system until that.
That would be my standpoint.
Okay. Just so we're clear with folks. Somehow I feel that this is an exception situation, but that's just my opinion.
Just be careful, Mr.
I'm
Chairman.
only one
You
person.
authorized for one just last week, and you denied another. You can't.
I know,
You gotta
that's,
be careful, because it doesn't matter the size or the scope, it's still the same basic thing. So, just,
We did,
The one we
the
did,
one we did last week was already authorized.
and he was already authorized from last year, but it doesn't matter, because
If he
you had
was
no policy in
authorized 40
place.
years ago, it doesn't mean that we say that he's still authorized.
But you had no policy in place, and you still don't really, there's no official policy on that yet.
The
So,
policy is that it comes before the board to review and determine whether or not the connection's allowed. I can assure you, we're not losing the
so what's the wish of the board?
I think we need to do it, Mr. Chairman.
The evaluation definitely needs to be done, so.
Okay, So,
Now, if the evaluation is done, is that gonna come with a set of drawings to show us where we're looking for, where the troubled spots are, and what they are?
It says in the proposal that it will come with a complete report in paper and digital form.
Because we've been told, pipe sizes, everything under the sun is going
They
wrong
will
with that.
have, with camera, $15,000 worth of cameraing, they'll be able to determine what size pipes and if there's problems with them. So that's out there. And anyone would care to make a motion?
Chairman, I make a motion, we proceed with this project.
And then funding? Funded.
Funded where'd you say we had the money, Judge?
In the engineering.
From the engineering?
The funding question is, are we paying it all? And then trying to find a source for the 4,000.
Well, we can put, you wanna break it up? Leave Jesse Road off and do we contact?
We can't force them to pay that fee through our mechanism, we would have to do a donation. So you could request a donation from them to cover that.
Whether we done it or not, it's up to him.
Because like you say, that's a for-profit enterprise, and we're spending money
That's right.
and making our users pay for it, to subsidize a for-profit operation. I think we have to have a communication with that. fellow.
Okay, so we've got a motion, we don't have a second. If we don't second it, then there's no discussion. Well, I'll second it then for sake of discussion.
Mr. Chairman, if George's argument has any weight to it, where if you do for one, you do for another, that means we'd be on the hook for subsidizing every project that comes through to do an evaluation as to whether our system will handle it.
Okay, well, I mean,
So do we,
then amend the motion and we'll move on. We can sit here all night and just look at it, but,
what was the total?
It's 36 for our portion, 4,000 for the Jesse.
Okay. Amend my motion to go ahead with the project for the 36,000.
That's what we want to do, just hydraulic evaluation.
To omit Jesse Road and, unless we can get a donation.
is there a second?
So,
Any further discussion?
Can I just have clarification? Did you say to omit Jesse Road unless we can get a donation?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure I had it correct.
So, I mean, we're approving the 36,000 part of it. All right,
Because it honestly doesn't make sense to do a project for, as you put it, for profit.
You might be misunderstanding something. This is part of the project that's going to be happening for the SSO issues per the DEP. I just had it delayed, and this is the beginning of that project. So you're not doing it for subdivisions or for whatever. This is for us, because we have still a problem in our system. It's better from the last incident. Believe me, it's a lot better, but it's not the total correction.
well,
The
yeah,
total correction is the pipe going down, and this is what they want us to start evaluating. and-
well, that's
and
what
doing.
we're voting on. We've omitted
I
the
just want to clarify, that's not for projects.
No,
All right, it's for a
They're
project.
talking about the Jesse Road part of it.
Yeah.
They don't want to do
It's
that,
just-
so that's fine. So, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Okay. performance evaluations. These performance evaluations have been hanging out there. George did Jen's. It needs to be signed off by us as the next level. And we have to determine if there will be a pay increase and how much it will be. You know, I do have 2 copies of the one that I did. I don't know if anybody else did anything, but we need to
The chairman, is
do a
the
decision.
town employees getting a raise?
It's not our concern. To be honest, it's not our
I
concern.
know,
We have our own budget, we have our own concerns, that's for us to, we determine what we need to determine. There is a pay scale, and that's what, you know, we do have to stay within that, but one person's pay raise should not be based on someone else's pay raise. It just doesn't, that's the way unions work, but
Mr. Chairman,
these are non-union personnel.
I just asked the question because I wanted you to answer it that way, that's all.
Okay,
I have a question on the form, the payroll form when we changed the last time. You said the number we were at was at 45 even,
yes.
but the form that was signed, it's a little confusing, but it says 4572. Signed 6/30/22 by John Morgan. But under the titles section and stuff, it says assistant town clerk.
Yeah, I don't know that, I saw that and I no clue what that is.
That, okay. I'll look into it now.
I did see that, I noticed that as well.
So you're back to a clerk.
No, that's
George.
for George.
Oh, sorry.
And what's the range that we have to work with?
See, the assistant town clerk is making,
No.
I said, no, that's George's pay rate.
Right, it's got
But
George's name.
It's got George's name, but it's got his title as assistant town
Typo.
clerk.
Right, typo.
And it says 39.5.
You only work 39 and a half hours?
So,
And if we went by this, then the rate that was authorized, 6/30/22, is the max we have now.
Look at that, for George, he's maxed. According to the, the pay scale listed here. Oh, okay, that's what okay, now I see what that market equity band is. They're trying to move people up. All right, that's what that is, all right. So, as far as the performance appraisal is concerned, I don't, George hasn't seen any of what I've done. I'd looking for input from others.
I read through yours, Mr. Chairman. Like I told you, I think you put a lot of time into it. There's nothing I did not disagree with. Did not.
Nothing you disagreed with?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you said you'd, by the double negative, you said there's nothing you,
Yeah,
nothing you
I
agreed,
realize that.
nothing you agreed with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll gladly hand it over to George and let him look at it. We can finish this up, but we do need to make some determinations on the pay scales. Did anybody get a chance to review Jen's? I did a couple times. This whole document, actually, it started out at 7 pages long and it ended up being 9 pages long with the expanding fields. But there's some pre-work that needs to be done with it, parts of it that need to be filled in before we even start. I would suggest that we do that for next year, for the next appraisal period. But
You wanna give George a copy and
unless anybody objects,
Well, procedurally, I don't know if you want to try to get more complete, but you said we need to make a decision because of his pay. But he's already maxed out.
he's maxed out, yes.
Do we have any option as to giving him an increase?
According to the pay band thing, I don't know that we do. I don't know. Because that they do have, per the discussions I had with town council over
Like, that's what.
who's responsible. We are responsible. George is responsible to our board. But within the parameters of anything like this. The town sets policies and procedures, the town sets personnel policies, the town sets pay scales.
is there any other perks that he's entitled to? Besides-
As an administrator, there could be any number of things. I mean, we don't provide them a department vehicle for, back and forth to home. We don't, I mean, he gets everything, you get a clothing allowance.
You get the clothing allowance like the men do in the union?
Everybody gets that.
Do you get the stipend that the union employees get for licenses or any of that?
No.
Even my Class A license, I don't even get a stipend for that.
But the union employees?
Put in to get a lot more stuff.
We can look into that.
What do you spend to maintain your licenses?
I mean, I get reimbursed for license renewals and things like that because I use my CDLs for Ringtown equipment. But I don't know, they just came up with a new thing now for having a certain level of licenses. That was one thing. I don't get stipends or anything else for any type of main break work or anything like that. That's all free. Scott, you said I'm maxed out at 45, but it's 45.
72.
It says 4572 is the top of it.
What is mine right
For-
now?
According
4572.
According to that
On the
document.
last, on your review, that's what, it was put in through, 4572, the
That
max.
was a year ago, that's what you're making now. We can look into the stipends or any other. Okay. We'd find out, I guess we can dig into that.
And he's not eligible for like the overtime for working out?
Nope,
Salary.
he's salaried. And I think is the highway superintendent? I know at one time the highway superintendent was allowed to get some hourly pay for any plowing over a certain number of hours. I believe at one point, but I don't know if that's
He
still.
got a stipend
still
for
the
the
case.
year for 5,000 for plowing.
Okay,
Any plowing.
but I don't know if the current
I don't know.
guy gets that or not. So,
We looking to like give him comp time for the time he puts in?
well, as a salaried employee, you can do that anyways. As long as his job is getting done, he can come and go. That's
It's
part of
not
being
right
a
to
salaried
have to
person.
go out 2 a.m. for
Yep.
5 hours or something, and
Yeah,
have to be in the work there. Right?
okay, so that's for George, for the superintendent. What's the pleasure for the administrative assistant?
What's her pay scale and where's she at?
It's currently, she's at
709.
2709, and she is just above the benchmark for July 1st, 2024. But it's still below what is considered the minimum scale for pay band 3. Pay band 3 minimum is 3045. And through the market equity pay band, which is set up so that every 2 to 3 years to bring people up to get them into that range. So, we can do anything up to $7 an hour range, a raise. Within that pay band.
So the minimum's 30, 45, what's
The maximum is $34.19. The benchmark for July 1st is $26.71, and the benchmark for July 1st, 2026 is the $30.45. So it's set up so that by July 1st of 2026, everybody is up to this pay scale within whatever the pay band is. So that's the way it's set up. What did they work in a COLA or anything like that? Is there
No.
anything, there's no,
No, we're only merit-based, once a year,
everybody's merit-based now?
once a year.
They did away with the COLA, okay.
That's weird.
Yeah. Let's see, let me think here, let me look here. 27 what?
Oh, 9.
So in 3 years, they want everybody up to the,
So, yeah, in 2 more years, they want everybody up to the base of that,
30, 45?
30, 45.
That's a huge leap.
That's a big, that's a lot.
It's a lot in a couple of
It's
years.
very high. Well, it's not very high, it's a large increase
Big
based on
incline.
what our town employees are currently being paid.
Well, what would you motion, like some type of percentage, pick a percentage
Yes,
number?
typically a percent, and I just typed it, I just looked at 5%.
Like say, yeah, a number like that,
5%
you
is
know?
at 28.44.
Yeah.
Where are you rating the market equity?
On that pay scale, the red section in the middle.
Oh, you don't have codes? You don't have codes,
Let's see. Oh, come on. We should have been more prepared here.
Well, it seems you were gonna take the copy.
I know.
So it's $1.35. It's $1.35 if you're doing 5, if you go 5%.
Percent's $1.35?
And, 6% would be 28.70.
Are you on the grade 3 now?
Should grade 3. 28.70. So it looks like each percent is about 25 cents. Actually, it's getting an increase. No, it's about 25 cents.
5% I think is $1.35.
Yep,
Right, but
it goes to 20.
if we
Yeah.
went 5% this year,
Yeah.
and 5% next year, would that put her up to the 30, 45 where they want it?
Well, it would get her close. 5% this year, 5% next year. 27.07 times.
Yeah, compound it.
Yeah, the second year she would be about just under 30. And then the third year would put her right into the band.
Gets right up to me.
That would put her, yes,
Still
it would,
quite a ways ahead.
5% increases each year would put her into that, above the minimum by July 1st, 2026.
Why are they saying max July 1st, 2026?
I don't know what it says well, yeah, that's that market equity
I know,
increases. Yeah, I tried to understand it when the guy presented it, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. What it is it's trying to get, they acknowledge that our town employees are being underpaid based on the market. So the market is the green all the way over on the right. That red area is to set folks up, to move folks upward, to scale them upward, to get them into that band by July 1st, 2026. So that's the way that was. Some of the headings, and they don't make a whole lot of sense, but
so what are they saying, the minimum and the maximum in the green column? Is that like 2030?
Hey,
Well, look at that Chase have people.
Because on one column, the market equity band, they're saying that the maximum as of July 1st, 2026 is 3045, but then in the next column, it says that's the minimum.
yep. Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. 15%, 5% each year would put her into band in 2026. No, but compounding is gonna put her a little bit higher. So it was just, from what she's making now, a 5% each year will put her well into that band. So. But what was your question again?
I don't understand the chart, because the red, where it's market equity paid band,
Right?
says as of July 1st, 2026, the maximum should be 3045, but then when you go over to the green,
That's in that,
green column,
yes.
that's the minimum.
The maximum, that's, I believe that's doesn't mean anything. I mean, because looking at that, it says, yeah, okay, that minimum, maximum, that's the minimum and maximum of that market equity pay band, whatever the heck that's supposed to be. I can only interpret that this is a plan to move folks up into what would be considered a normal
Fair value type of deal.
pay structure for folks doing the jobs that they're doing. That's,
do we have,
you have to read into it, I guess. That's the way I read into it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'd just like to know what range we have to actually work with.
To the maximum of the,
Maximum under the green column or the maximum under the red column?
You know, now the superintendent is already in the max in the green column.
I believe you
But
can
at-
go to the max in the green.
The max in the green. You can go all the way to the max in the green, yes.
but I'm not understanding. So they're saying for his job, that's the max pay for,
That's
What is his grade?
4.
4. So his max salary is about 90,000,
96.
96, yeah. It's
Yeah.
ballpark, it's double whatever the hourly rate is. So that's what this, I mean, it's not right. That's a battle we'll have to fight.
No, but if we're already in that green band, we're supposed to be working in the green band, and technically it says the minimum is 3045.
Right. But he created this market equity band as benchmarks to be able to bring somebody up over a period of time to get them into that band. And in order to do that, in order to get our administrative assistant into that green band, we need to increase approximately 5% each year. And that would put her at, I believe it would be 31, I think it was 3117 or something like that.
Can I
Just a straight 15%.
make a motion, we recommend 5% increase for administrative assistant coming
Beginning,
July 1st?
Yeah, fiscal year.
okay, a motion's been made.
I'll second.
And seconded.
Mr. Chairman. That's a good start.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Discussion.
Did you have a dollar amount on
I just said 5%.
I think we said 5% takes us up to 24, 2844.
2844, so that's,
that? I had 28, 30. What's your dollar?
2709.
oh, okay, so that 2707, okay.
28, 30.
It's okay.
Yeah, because when you look at some of the numbers, Mr. Chairman, over the years, people negotiate, and it was like 3% on some of the other contracts, so
Great.
it's, positive to
That's-
bump and start moving up
That's
in that
approximately
direction.
$35 an hour.
Most of our reviews are excellent.
Oh, yeah, yes.
Mr. Chairman, can we vote on it?
Motion's been, I'm just allowing
Okay.
discussion.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Crickets?
Thank
There you
you very
go.
much.
Mr. Chairman, getting back to our superintendent,
Right,
um,
that was fairly easy one, but.
I know that we're gonna look into other perks that but to me, it's the max on that scale for a superintendent is kind of low compared to other towns.
It's very low.
Is there a way that we can go above that scale?
You could try.
I mean, we could try. Yeah, we can certainly try. The worst that can happen is that they say no.
We do it with our indirect.
Well, in fairness, Mr. Chairman,
I like that.
No, that didn't get to the,
Mr. Chairman, in fairness, I'd like to make a motion to give our superintendent a 5% raise with July 1st.
okay, motion's
If
been
if
made.
anything, he'll have our backing if we can get it through.
There's been a
Because
motion.
each one of us knows he's underpaid.
Is there a second?
Just don't know what we have to work with.
What do you mean by to work with? I'll second it for discussion.
We're just required to fall within the personnel bylaws.
Right.
That's my only issue. I don't know.
And that's, I mean, as Tom said, he said we can make the motion, we can do it, and the worst that can happen is that the
Declines.
personnel director can say no. That's,
So I'd put him at 48.
yes.
I'm not discussing this one.
Okay. Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Unanimous.
We'll see what happens.
Thank you, I hope.
We'll see what happens. But as far as the performance appraisal,
I just make a comment, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
George, we all know you're underpaid, and you're well worth more money than we're paying you. If anything, at least you know how the board feels.
I do, I know.
okay, so in any case, I mean, George does have a right to know what our opinion is of him. I mean, I can give him mine. If folks want to take some time to put this together, we need to get it to him and get him. But unless anyone has objection, I'm going to hand him a copy of what I've come up with, and he can look at it. And if folks want to make some changes to it,
As I said, I agree with everything you wrote. One stipulation I was looking for, you have it at the end.
I think
I tried to do it in the order that I think this is supposed to
Just
have.
have to sign that.
we know the strong spots and the weak spots, you know?
Right.
But he's had a lot of adversity because you're short on manpower and you've had construction work going on for the last 3 years. So it's not a normal system.
Yeah,
And he had a lot of personal stuff going on
yeah,
this year,
I was
too.
just gonna state, Mr. Chairman, he's bent over backwards for us, even with his personal problems. So,
Thank you.
Okay.
are we going to, after he goes through it, are we gonna sit?
We can sit and discuss it at, you know, at a future date.
Just make sure the sheet is done right, so it's on the system.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
No.
Um,
That's his new job.
Yeah. You get the, during your spare time, during your spare time, you go down and work on the second floor.
Yeah.
He's gonna need a change of new outfit to go
Yeah,
downstairs.
get a new outfit.
I don't wanna see him in a
No,
strip.
no white t-shirts.
Can I say that?
Yeah.
Just pick out a good pair of heels.
Okay, so any case, was there anything else that,
Oh, I have one little thing.
Go ahead.
I talked to you about it today, but the rest of the board, maybe they can hook up with the planning board. Again, this DMA Holdings is starting to be an issue because they're looking for the planning board to sign
That's
off
right.
on the manufacturing aspect of what they want to do. Now, this has changed from one to another to another to another, so we don't even know what that means. They can go to the fire department to see if anything has to be required there, and they have to do an evaluation, and they don't know yet what does that mean or entitle. So what I do know is, the letter they got, they do not want to do anything about the water main there, okay? Even if we, and it's, they're right, they're in the building now, and they're using the normal water that Ethan Allen was normally using or whatever. But I brought some concerns that I had to the town planner to, that we should have a meeting with the Board of Water Sewer and a couple members of the planning board and DMA, a representative from DMA Holdings, not their engineer, their actual representative, because it's always the engineer that comes in. He doesn't have the information on what their future entitles. But I brought up a couple issues. One is fire protection. I can't have all these hydrants going in there, all these trucks tying into yard hydrants and street hydrants offering off the same main. It's not gonna work. It's gonna cause problems, and it's gonna cause probably a break because it's not looped in, and you got, like I said, transite. The peer review stated everything I had stated correctly and what should be done, okay? But also, the other big thing is that I don't know what happens if the manufacturing ends up stopping because of a 4 or 6 hour main break, which will happen, morning, noon, and night. And who's gonna be all ripped up because that happens, and you know, there's possible lawsuits because we lost all this money, blah, blah, blah. So the cards have to go on the table to whoever is in charge of this operation and say, hey, listen, this is what you're up against. The planning board needs to know what we're up against, and so everybody knows the exact scale of this thing. I'm not trying to drive them out, but we didn't put that main in there. This is what they did.
This
and-
is what the situation is now. This is what the situation is, so that everybody's on the same
The
page.
situation got worse, because when they break that, you think you're only gonna be down for 4 hours, and we're waiting for a road opening permit, it's gonna cost $26,000.
There you go. Yeah.
Now, we're on the hook to fix stuff that they cause and break, so
That's the other
I would
thing.
make them fix it before you let them do anything.
I
Otherwise, we're on the hook to
misunderstanding.
fix it.
Aren't you requiring them to do it?
No, because we don't, they're not going into cultivation or anything like that. They're just sticking to some kind of manufacturing. We don't know what that, we don't know if they're expanding the building, we don't know if they're staying.
We don't
Whether
know
they're
what their
conflict
process is.
But if they're not,
What they're gonna be
if they're doing what
processing.
they were doing, they wouldn't be before the planning board. So it's a change of use, they're doing something different.
That's,
Requiring-
they're not really sure either what that is, because the engineer just keeps coming up there and not the actual people involved in what their future plans.
What's their actual intention for the building?
Yeah,
Are they gonna be making edibles? If they're gonna be making edibles, that's cooking.
That's what we said, those are
That's
kitchens.
sort of, that's a kitchen.
Those are kitchen
That's
utensils.
a
you know?
that's a different process than taking
Should
and cutting up and packing into baggies. Well, I'm sorry, that's my exposure to marijuana. It came in little sandwich baggies. So, I mean,
And chemicals they mix to
right,
make it are highly flammable.
right. So there's a whole lot, and the fire protection part of it is really not our concern, other than providing water to the sprinkler system. And what,
Well, it is our concern, because if the fire system opens up, you're gonna break the main.
definitely break them. If they're taking hydrants and hydrants on the street and feeding the sprinkler system, absolutely. Plus, I have to evacuate the building. They have to evacuate the building, because you can't put people in a factory without fire protection.
So what do you want to see happen with you?
I want to try to arrange a meeting.
No,
with-
no, but what
Oh.
is your ideal?
Well,
of
it involves
what needs
the-
to be done?
Right now, I want to know exactly what is the intention and what exactly they plan on doing. What is the planning board's, do they understand, and does this board understand? So that if there's concerns, they can be ironed out at one meeting with the proper information.
I don't have a problem with that, but the planning board is not part of the water department. So what do you need, what do you see,
Well,
what do you need for the water department?
Well, we wanted that whole job gridded.
one of that, I
All the way
wanted,
around with a 12-inch main.
yeah, what I wanted was exactly to make a loop in of that area, but
Why aren't we sticking with that then?
We did, didn't we? We voted at the last meeting that we.
yes, and that hasn't been pushed
we approved the
forward.
recommendations of,
That's
but
been,
that was on I think on a main final cultivation type effort.
no, that's use of that
Well,
building. That's use
That's
of that
why,
building.
that's why the planning board doesn't know what to do with this, because now they've got that letter and stuff, but there's no real reasons, we don't know any reasons why they would deny it or accept it or anything. I don't know anything what's
I
going
don't
on.
care what they're doing in the building, they're before the planning board because they're changing their use. They're trying to do something they weren't already doing. And that triggered a planning board review, which triggered us to make our evaluation, which we already authorized, saying, we want this done before it moves forward.
I just don't want a problem happening like last time when they made a vote on something and then we're backtracking, trying to figure
Can
out.
we send a letter to the planning board?
There you go.
I sent,
Say, this is what we want done.
I sent the peer review and said that the board, at the last meeting, the board voted to follow the peer review
Recommendation.
from Ty and Bond.
Right.
And I also sent it to DMA Holdings and their attorney.
Okay, so we've covered our
So
tail there.
we've covered what we need to cover. If we need somebody to go to a planning board meeting when they have the next public hearing with DMA Holdings, then if we have to go, we can go.
George, I agree that I think we should all be on the same page. I have no problem going to the planning board meeting and stating that, but
We voted to uphold to accept the recommendations of the peer review. That's where it's at.
Yep.
It's pretty simple, to be honest.
I just don't know if the water usage there is going to go outside the realm of what it used to be there. That's what I don't know. They could say manufacturing, that could be a small little thing, and they're still using the same amount of toilets, same amount of sinks. I don't know. I have no idea what they plan on doing with that. That is the issue there. That's what I want to know. I want them to know and us to know, so that if there's any questions, they can be answered correctly and.
From what that representative said the last time, is they don't expect to be using any more water than they're currently using now. But that means they're not, they're supposed to be processing. Well, if they're processing, they've got to be using some water somewhere, especially if they're making edibles. I mean, that requires a liquid in some form.
No, they had a, no, not per se.
So I don't know what they're planning to do, and I guess that's the next, the next public hearing, we need to be there to ask the question.
But as you stated, Bob stated, they're changing, put back in front of the planning board, so they're changing something.
Right.
We recommended, we're going with the review, that's what we want done. Whether they, just doing a different process or whatever, but that's what we want done. It's not, we're not gonna say, okay, using, 100 gallons now, you're gonna go to 200. No, they're changing. This is what we want done.
I mean,
You still need the answer as to what they're gonna use to
Right.
determine if we have a capacity.
they're in there now using water normally, like it normally is.
Right.
They could put manufacturing in there and still use the same amount of water. We would never know. I mean, I don't know. I just
We'll know
don't.
when we send the bills, but.
Well, no,
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
I said the bills may not change.
But if they're making furniture, they're not
Not
using
using
water.
water.
But that's, I'm just saying that you need to
They're
know
putting it
that
into little
for-
bags.
I need to know
They're
what-
using water.
What is expected now and in the future, and
Yeah, I agree. You need to know how much water they're gonna use, but from this board, that's what we're asking them to do, if they want our approval on the change, on the usage.
That original plan they came in with, they
They've had
were
numerous-
proposing like 379,000.
yeah, it's changed so many times now.
But that was when they were growing. They're
Right.
not planning on doing any growing there at all
But
right
they
now.
seem to be lacking information,
Specificity, yeah.
coming forth with information so that we can make determinations on what they're gonna use.
Yep. Okay, so we need
They've
to
received
be,
a letter. Let's see what the feedback is.
yep,
Yeah,
We've
I've heard
given them the
nothing
letter.
back.
yeah, we haven't
Here's
heard
where-
from them,
here's where
so
we
it's
stand.
it's in their court right
Here's
now.
where we
Now, is
stand.
the planning
Please
board
reply.
holding off on their approval?
They were supposed to meet with them tonight. They came looking for them.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
That's what he was
they're
saying,
meeting,
right.
they were on their agenda this evening to go over.
But are they holding off approving until they hear from us?
Yes, they want to meet here with them and with us before they approve anything, because they don't know
Okay,
anything.
good.
Then they need to reach out to our board and say.
Well, that's what their intentions are, but they didn't show up tonight either, so
Okay,
I
well,
don't know what.
Consider it a commercial kitchen going in, some of that, just like any other restaurant.
Hello.
Simple as
okay,
that.
but we can guess.
Oh, no, I know, yeah, but-
Until we get the information from their mouths,
You get it,
from their lips to our ears,
get a blueprint. of
it's
what
all
that-
hearsay.
What that warehouse is going to look like when you're done. What are you doing in that?
It's all hearsay.
Yep.
Until we talk to them, so I mean, we'll just leave it at that. To me.
All right, hey, they've got the letter, Mr. Chairman.
It's in there.
Let's
it's in their
let's,
court right
wait
now.
for a response.
Okay. It's not on there, but any board member comments? We will be welcoming Mr. Justin Dolan of Mason Road to our board at our next meeting. He was
I
the
was
top
just gonna
vote
ask.
getter.
How many votes?
70. 70?
70 write-ins, yes.
I was a write-in for
70 to
5.
12 to 5, George was third.
I was third, they were me at 5 times.
Yeah, well, okay.
There's only,
With nothing-
I may be your next chairman.
you could vote your own raise.
It's a big pay cut, George.
Yeah.
That's a real big pay cut, yeah. You won't even earn earn the proposed raise. Okay, so that's all that's on the agenda, so
Make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're unanimous.